Welcome to YouTooSpain, broadcasting live on YouTube. On today's show, I've never done a trumpet voluntary before. There we go. On today's show, I'll be asking our very good friend Sam from Sam Campbell Insurance all about car insurance in different situations. Whether you're moving to Spain or visiting or storing a car here or anything else you can think of. Join in on the live chat over there or down there, depending on which device you're watching on. Or if you're watching the video back afterwards, you can still chat in the comments below and leave us a comment. And there'll be loads of handy information and lively chat for you from beginning to end. So stick around for the whole thing. You're all very welcome to YouTooSpain. All together now, still alive. And of course, let's dance. Oh yeah, groovy baby. Right then, just before we get chatting, don't forget to sign up for free to the monthly newsletter from our website, YouTooSpain.com. And a very quick mention for our lovely friends at Smart, whom I highly recommend for currency exchange when you're moving or buying a property here. Use the link below to get in touch with them and get a free account with no obligation. Doesn't cost you a penny and it helps YouTooSpain out too. It is a win-win-win with a cherry on top, and it says it right there. So, without further ado, let's meet our wonderful guest today. It's Sam Campbell. Hola, Sam.
Morning, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks. And you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. The sun is shining. I've had my protein shake, I'm ready. And morning, everybody on the right-hand side of my laptop.
Yes, there they are, all there on the live chat.
Yeah, familiar names this morning.
You're as slow as me with my mouth.
I know.
We've just been talking about I'm on cold turkey from caffeine at the moment, and I had an awful headache yesterday. I had the migraine. Fortunately, it's just about gone now. So, but I'm still feeling a little bit slow. So I'm trying to inside my head. I'm trying to go like this. So let's see then who's on the live chat and say hello to all of them. Robbo, yes. Morning, everyone. A beautiful sunny morning in Mortlake. And morning to Andy Cooper and Anton Kez. Hola todos. FOF, feck off Freddy. And Peas and Fluff, BGs and Gloria Gaynor. That's all about my cancer struggle, as everybody knows, I'm sure, by now. BGs is staying alive. Gloria Gaynor is. First I was afraid, I was petrified. And Anton Kez are in France. 2 days not raining. Ha ha ha. Excellent. That's going well over there.
Oh,
Paul.
Germany.
Yeah. Yes. Paul Cook, morning, Skatz and Sam. El Davido. And Anton Kez again. Thumbs up. Paulino, good morning from sunny Saddleworth. That doesn't sound like a Saddleworth name to me. And Sarah Bolt, morning from rainy Germany. Yes. Brilliant. Have you got any clients you want to do a shout out to? Any recent ones?
Yeah, I can see there. I'm just going to have to... Oh, they've all gone off my screen. So, Robbo, good morning. Obviously, we have been chatting. Andy, good morning. We've been chatting as well.
Excellent.
And everybody, really, morning.
Great stuff. So, the first half of the show, we're going to be talking about car insurance for residents, and then we'll do the non-resident stuff in the second half. So, let's talk. Oh, Yogi's on. Good morning. There you go. What's different about car insurance in Spain compared to, say, the UK? And how does that affect what you do?
Okay, so car insurance, the two big differences from the UK and Spain is in Spain, it's actually the vehicle that's insured and not the person. So that's the biggest thing to get across to the UK, really the UK market on that side, because I understand in the UK, the person is insured.
Yeah.
And therefore they can then obviously go and drive anybody's car. They don't need any authorization. Here in Spain, it's actually the vehicle that's insured, which is great because that's really the whole point of insuring your car is the actual car. Mm-hmm. To allow other people to drive your vehicle is quite simple. You ask for an open policy, which then means anybody can drive the vehicle with your permission. Mm-hmm. Here in Spain, the majority of the insurance providers like a minimum of 25 or 26 years old on their policies. Mm-hmm. It does make it slightly challenging. for young drivers and new drivers, I have to say. There are a couple of companies that I can use that will let young drivers drive on their policies. Usually they have to be named as a second driver. That's the way they get to build up the no claims bonus. But that is the biggest difference. It's actually the car that's insured and not the person.
Yeah, that's definitely what we've got. We've got and it's because it's my car, the policy is in my name, but Liz is mentioned on the policy, I think.
Yeah.
Do you always have to have that some note that you carry in your car saying that you've given somebody else permission to drive? Is that if it's a partner?
No, you don't actually have to. I find that expat community like to have usually their partners named on the policy, and I think that's more just in case for a routine check they get stopped by the police, in case they ask for ID. It's there, it's easy, especially if you don't speak Spanish fluently. But the majority of the policies you don't actually need to name anybody. Only time you ever need to name on a policy if it's a high performance vehicle where it will be restricted driving. That's all. Yeah.
Good plan. Yeah, Sarah Bolt says same here in Germany. That's the vehicle that's in. Excuse me, the vehicle that's insured.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Ireland it's the same as the UK.
Okay.
It's the It's the
It's been
person.
such a long time since I've driven in the UK now, so I couldn't really remember how insurance works in the UK. But yeah.
Yes. So let's say that you're moving over to Spain then, and you're driving over here in a foreign car, in the car from, say, the UK. How do you make sure that you're covered at all times? Because I think when we were in Ireland, I think my insurance company were probably quite wrong about this, but they said, as soon as you leave Ireland, you're not covered anymore. But I said, but I'm driving in Europe. And they said, yeah, but you're moving there. So, and you know you're moving there, we know you're moving there, so you're not actually covered. But while you're still setting up registering your residency there, you're still a tourist, really, aren't you, until you become an official resident?
Yes. I mean, I have had clients obviously have done exactly that. Obviously, you have, I think, 90 days still from a UK policy whilst you're driving over. So obviously that makes sure you're covered whilst you're driving through on that side. Or we have some clients, obviously, that have informed their insurance company in the UK that that's it, packed up, I am going, therefore I no longer need the policy. There are some insurance companies that will give you insurance for 2 weeks cover only in the UK for your onward journey to Spain. But with that, you have to provide ferry bookings, proof of purchase when you're leaving, etc., to come over on that side. So rule of thumb, most of my clients tend to have their insurance from the UK. Once they come over, then obviously we look at then reinsuring them from Spain because they're going to be here obviously full time. If you're on a UK plate, that's absolutely fine. There is still, the choice is getting smaller and smaller, and that's probably my advice now. Would say to people on UK plates, very, very few companies now will insure a UK plate. I work with one of the biggest ones that will do. For how long, I am not sure. I think it's something they really are looking at phasing out on that side. So, but as it stands at the moment, UK plates, I can insure, not a problem. When you come over, obviously, if you're importing the vehicle, going through the matriculation of obviously putting it onto Spanish plates, from a UK plate, I mean, this is really a different area, but just touching on it, from a UK plate to going through the importation process, I can insure it temporary as well on that side until it gets its Spanish. So that, no problems there at all.
Okay, so that's whether it's got its UK plate or whether it's got the sort of temporary plate that you can get during the registration process.
Exactly.
Until it's Spanish.
Absolutely. I had a client contact me yesterday, just purchased a brand new German plated camper van that's having imported in, was panicking. Spoke to him, said not an issue. He's got trade cover from the dealer once it touches Spain here, and then the second he starts the importation process, we can insure it on the temporary side until he gets everything sorted. So yeah, it's fine. It's doable.
Yes, great. And the only people that can't do that are Spanish residents because you can't drive a foreign plated car. Yeah.
Correct. If you're a Spanish resident, you have, which obviously none of our clients are going to be. Mind you, quite a few clients now I've noticed are taking Spanish nationality. And actually having the Spanish passport. But the second they do that, that's it. Then no national is allowed to drive a foreign plated car in Spain.
There you go. And so the timing of getting your NIE number or your TIE card, that doesn't seem to matter, does it?
No.
To the process.
Yeah, not at all, because at the end of the day, you're coming over with the car, you're importing the car. Obviously, you're going to change the license as well on that side. So it doesn't really have a big impact. The TIE stroke NIE card, whichever one you have, only plays a part with the majority of the Spanish companies for insurance. They need to have that. They will not insure on a passport. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind when you're coming over on that side. Really, you have to have that in place in order to get the Spanish insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Robbo has a question. Here we go. I'll put it on screen. When getting to Spain in a UK plated car, should you get a new policy straight away or wait until the vehicle is registered with new plates and past the ITV?
Okay, right. I think that's morning, Robert. I think we've just kind of touched on that. When you're bringing over anyway on your UK plates, you're going to start obviously the importation process there. The actual person that you're using for that will basically advise you from when the procedure starts. The second then it's got to be cancelled, and it will then go on to the Spanish, depending on how quickly each region works. It can either go onto a P plate, which is a green plate, which is a temporary plate, or it can go straight to Spanish plates. So it very, very, very depends. It depends who you're using, what they say. I will speak to them, and then we can work out which is the best way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Use Chris from Upsticks Drive. That's my recommendation.
Well, I do work very closely with Chris and Laura on that side. So usually with a client, I will speak to him and say, I've got this client, where is he based? Are you going straight to P plates? Or are you going straight to the Spanish plate? And then that way I know what kind of policy to issue for them.
Brilliant. And thanks to Yogi for dropping $1.99 into the fund there. I'm not sure how that's done. There's a little dollar sign, I think, underneath this, below the screen as you watch. You can also donate via the GoFundMe up there. And Ken Skilling, here we go. His question is, having moved here with my UK plated car full-time in January, we managed to get our car insured after the UK insurance expired after 60 days. But at what point do we pay road tax?
Oh, okay. Well, road tax is all very dependent then on the age of the car here on that side. And I also think where you're registered. So you should obviously, once the vehicle is on, hold on.
It's on a UK plate.
Oh, it's on a UK plate. Okay.
So you can't pay road tax over here.
Yeah, sorry. That's why I was just reading it. Well, you don't pay road tax here then? No, fine. Yeah, no, you don't.
But you can't keep on driving if you've moved here. You can't. Once you're a Spanish resident, you can't.
If you're a resident, really, I think once this is up, you really need to go and then change it to, import the car, basically. I mean, the thing is, obviously, they do go through their purges of pulling over the UK plates, checking to see if you have residency, you are going to get fined. Very good chance they will impound the car as well. So, not trying to obviously scare too many people, but that is the fact here. So you've come over, once you start doing the process, really the car then should be quite an easy process. I insure a lot of UK plates. I had actually 3 in the last week. I insured on UK plates, and they actually got their Spanish plates. Literally, they obviously started the process. So basically what happens is the UK plated policy gets cancelled. They have to take out a new Spanish policy, pay for the year, and then they're given the pro rata refund back on their so they don't lose any money, which is really good. They obviously just get deducted the time on cover. So it's a really simple process.
Yes, I have to say there is a purge going on at the moment because I've been told by a few people, and my wife Liz got stopped actually in the car park, Mercadona car park. She put her shopping on the seat instead of in the boot. You're not supposed to carry your shopping.
I know.
You're supposed to put it in the boot, and she put it behind the front seat and down on the floor.
Which is what I always do as well.
In theory, it's a lot safer than having it in the boot, because the boot's too big. It would fly around all over the place. But anyway, and 2 Guardia Civil came up with and they're the ones with the big guns as well. So she was scared, and but they were really, really, really mean and harsh up until the point where she produced her TIE card, and then they just went, okay, fair enough, and then went off. They made her move the shopping, but
But that's unusual for Guardia Civil to do that, I have to say, with the shopping. But yeah, I think unfortunately we're coming into the time of year as well. It's starting to get quite seasonal, very touristy. I think you're going to see a lot more almost money-making stops on that side. If they can get you make a little bit of money, they're going to get you. So yeah.
Yeah, no.
Don't wear flip-flops in the car. That will be my biggest thing to say to you.
Yeah, don't take your
Not
shirt
fun.
off in the shopping area.
Yeah, don't drive in
Yeah,
flip-flops. Yeah, you
yeah,
will get done. Big stuff.
yeah, absolutely. So yes, and another friend said that the local police knocked on his door and with a list of English people in the area who hadn't registered and things like that, and he said, "Do you know any of these people?" So there is a big purge going on. So
Oh my God, that's shocking.
watch out, get yourself legalised. That's my
Yeah,
advice to
I
everyone.
think so now. I think really with everybody now from the UK really having to go through the process of coming in, becoming a resident, going through the actual whole immigration process, it just makes sense to become fully legal now. The days of being here under the radar are long gone. They really, really are. So I do think if you've invested in coming over, you've paid all your money to go through the process, you've got your medical insurance, everything else, just change everything. Just get it done.
Yeah,
It makes your life so much easier.
has to be done. Yogi's got a question there, all about. It's a non-residence question, Yogi. We're going to answer that one in the second half of the show. I'm sure you'll be sticking around for it anyway, so I won't forget that one. And Ken Skilling says we're currently going through the import process. Thumbs up for that. Good for you. Here's a question about car tax. What's the cost of car tax in Spain based on? Is it emissions or engine size? It's a bit of both, isn't it?
It is a bit of both. Yeah, absolutely.
Depends on the age, I think.
It does. And again, I know this by many, many, many years ago. My son is now 18. So when he was a baby, we bought, funnily enough, a German plated 4x4 because it was cheaper, had a much better spec. Went over to Germany, bought the car, brought it back. It was horrendously expensive to put it onto Spanish plates back then. So drove it to the UK, which you do, registered it for £75, I think it was, with the DVLA, brought it back. And with the intention of obviously getting it put onto Spanish plates, it was horrendously expensive based on the size of the car, the emissions at the time. And obviously, if you go back 20 years, the emissions obviously weren't nearly as good as they are now. Price, etc., etc. It took 8 years for that car to come down to a reasonable price for us to be able to actually do it. So I do know that it really is based on emissions and engine size and the year, without a doubt. I'm not unfortunately qualified to go into it in more detail because it's not my area, but that is definitely what they base it on. But that's really a question that probably Chris could answer with the importation process on that.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. So come back next week and ask Chris. He'll be our guest as usual. Let's see. No more questions down there, so I'll ask my next prepared question. Are there English-speaking companies you can speak to?
Yes. So I, being an expat insurance broker, so if I just explain, there are lots of agents that sell insurance on the coast who will work with one specific company, whereas I'm an actual broker, so I had to obviously do the exams to become a broker. But that just basically means I can pick and choose who I want to work with. Now, obviously, being here for 24 years, my level of Spanish is I'm afraid to say. I'd like to take a pill and wake up and be fluent. My son was born here, he is fluent, but I've always dealt with the expat market, therefore, haven't really had the need. So I wanted to make sure that I focus on the expat market and dealing with expat providers. And for me, that means companies that have an English-speaking customer service and English-speaking claims department, because I can't always be available to take the call, and that you should be able to feel confident enough to be able to call them if I'm not around. So there are a few, not everybody obviously has it. If you buy your insurance from the bank, I will tell you right now, you will not get any support whatsoever. None whatsoever. Banks really here who sell insurance, obviously, are on incentives to sell insurance, and they just sell the insurance to the client. But when it comes to a claim, it comes to any kind of help, you have a Spanish number, and then that's where the problem lies then, trying to obviously deal with anything on that side. So I would always speak to a broker that works with the expat insurance companies on the coast.
Yeah.
Really.
Are there many of them?
There are a few, absolutely. I mean, I probably work with three, probably the biggest ones, but there are quite a few. I mean, there are a lot that say, yes, we do. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, it might not be to the level that expat market want. But yes, absolutely. They're getting better. They've realised actually as well that the expat market are better drivers than their own. Means they get actually preferable rates as well. The claims ratio for the expat market, they love in comparison to the Spanish one. So they absolutely jump, to help the expat market where they can.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Talking about accidents, well, it's more about breakdown cover. Is there policy, does every policy have a breakdown cover?
Absolutely. The only slight difference is in Spain is that breakdown is always included. Sometimes on a policy it will show as a separate payment, but it's all together. So in the total price will be the insurance for the car and the breakdown. The breakdown in all of Spain is outsourced to separate companies, and you just get different levels of cover dependent on the actual insurance company that you're with. So some companies will offer you a premium cover, which is from 0 kilometers, literally from your home. Some companies are a little bit more, well, maybe 50 kilometers will come out and see you. You also have some companies that will actually offer you mechanical breakdown assistance as well. So if you come out, you have a flat battery, they'll jump the battery for you. If it's something they can try and fix at the side of the road, they will do. They actually don't do it at the side of the road. They have to take you off the motorway in order to do that. But yes, all policies do have it on that side. It's just very dependent what kind of breakdown you're looking for. You can also buy a policy without breakdown cover. For some people that are actually buying new cars, I know sometimes they have breakdown assistance included in the first couple of years. So if you stipulate, it can be removed from the policy. But rule to thumb, it's included.
It's best to have it anyway. And there are a lot of breakdown vans. They're what they call growers.
Growers, yeah.
And actually, when we broke down on the way down through, having just arrived from Ireland into Bilbao, about 20 minutes down the road, we broke down. And there was a van there almost immediately, because I think they trawl up and down the motorways just checking out, I think. And picking up clients.
Yeah, I think so. We touched on this. I think a lot of the growers are probably independent people that they just literally call a bank of people and whoever is the nearest in the area. I've got one that lives on my urbanisation, so I kind of know, but it doesn't necessarily mean I could go knock on his door and ask him to help me. But yeah, there always seem to be grower trucks around the local areas.
It is good to know. I do feel a little bit safer that way, although it's a bit more difficult when you live up the mountain.
Yes. And again, there are actually restrictions. I mean, I'm glad you've mentioned that. Sometimes, depending on the kind of vehicle you have, or even depending on where you live and where the vehicle is, it's always really important to say when you're calling for a grower. Some people, we've had situations where the actual grower truck can't get into an underground car park because obviously it has to be a certain height, a certain this. So those kind of things are always important to mention. If you do break down, they do always ask you your registration number and the vehicle, but if there's anything interesting about where you live, you should always say that to the grower company, because like I said, I've known of situations where they actually couldn't get in to an underground car park to retrieve a vehicle. They can't get up a mountain road. And as we know, that's how the roads can be once you go inland as well. So this is all actually really pertinent information you should give to the breakdown company if you do ever need a grower. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yes. So actually, when in my situation, the insurance company gave me a phone number to phone, and the first message that you get is, do you want English or Spanish?
Yeah.
And so you click on the English button, but unfortunately I think it was a Sunday when we needed it, and so the English number just rang and rang and rang and rang and rang, and then it clicked over to the Spanish number. So I kept having to go back to the Spanish person saying, sorry, speak Spanish yet. I've not learnt enough. And they put me back through to the English line, and it rang and rang and rang and rang, and then it went back to the same person again. So it was,
and this kind of goes back to saying about choosing an insurance company that is focused on expats for those kind of situations as well, you know, so that I take calls sometimes at the weekend from people that aren't even my clients saying, oh my God, I've got the situation, nobody answers the phone, I can't get anybody to speak in English, what do you, and all I can do is advise because they're not my clients. And I always say, look, this is what really you should do, but you'd be surprised, and that's a really good point. You know, that can happen where come the weekend or come 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, forget it here.
Yeah.
No thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, lunchtime. So, Andy Cooper says, what do you need to carry legally now in case of a breakdown? We're on a changeover period, aren't we, from the old triangles?
Yeah, I mean, that's not coming in yet. That's still what, 2025, 26, they're talking about that. You can buy these new beacons, but I wouldn't actually advise anybody to buy them now at all. When they launched this, when they told everybody we were going to do this, which was about, 2 years ago, I think, all of a sudden all the shops had them. Absolutely fantastic. They were charging everybody for them. But they're null and void now because the technology that they're going to have on them when they're ready to launch is not the same. And these are now going to be the beacons that you actually put on the top of your car. It's a bit like you see in the old 70s police movies where they will put the beacon on the top of the car, and they work then by satellite GPS. So they know where you are when you've broken down. So at the moment, it is still the warning triangles that you keep. In the car, you must have a high-vis jacket for every person that is in the car. So if you normally carry just 2 people, always have 2 jackets. If you usually got a family, just stick 5 in there. I would say just for peace of mind on that side.
Yeah. And make sure they're the proper ones as well, because you can't just carry. I've got some from Ireland which I had in the car, and they've got some like words on the back from whatever they. Company or something like that, and no, even though they're high vis, they're yellow. They're not legal. They've got to be
not on the back. A lot of the insurance companies. I had a whole lot from a company that I work with that gave them to me to give to clients. They'll have maybe the logo, just a little logo on the front. That's absolutely fine, but the back of them has to be completely clear of any pictures, writing, or anything else. So at the moment, Andy, that's what it has to be on that side. They also do like you to have a fire extinguisher in the car as well, in case of fires, and your small one you need. And I mean, actually, I will just mention, I hope you don't mind, Andy, but on my samcampbellinsurance.com page, I always update with informative blogs. So I did a post probably, 6 weeks ago with an up-to-date what documents and what you need to carry in your car should you get stopped. So you can always find that information on my website as well.
Absolutely. Don't mind you mentioning that at all, because I've got it at the very top of the video description anyway. So
yeah, I never really talk about selling policies on that. My website is all informative about the kind of insurances that you need, general insurance, and then more specific when new laws come in, road traffic laws, those kind of things. You'll find all the information on the website.
Great stuff. Oh, there's been some other questions. Tony Traveller says, good morning from Leamington Spa. El Davido says, is there an age limit for purchasing car insurance? Asking for a friend. Are you really old, El Davido?
Okay, so replying to the friend, age limit, 75 is usually the cutoff for most of them. And then if we get clients older than 75, we do have choices. They're just limited. And then obviously when it comes to limitation, then that's sometimes where it can be expensive on that side. But rule of thumb, 75, not an issue for new drivers or new clients with the insurance companies. Yeah.
And Tony Traveller says, what's the cost of insurance for over 60s compared to the UK for the average family car?
Okay.
That's a tough one because you're not that familiar with the UK's.
I'm not, but judging by the clients that I speak to, you can't compare. I have to keep saying this to people. The second that you come over, Spain is Spain. We're not the UK. We don't have hundreds of cost comparison websites. They're not as competitive with everything in Spain as they are in the UK in that side. So, I talked to my dad. My dad is 78 this year, drives a Volvo, bless him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he tells me how much he pays in insurance, and I've run a quote for him here based on the engine size of that Volvo, and it's 2-3 times more expensive than what my dad's paying. But he's paying something like £128 a year. There are no policies in Spain that cheap at all.
No, I didn't think there were any in the UK either. Certainly not in Ireland either.
Exactly. I've very rarely seen a policy under €200 here in Spain. You really can't compare. An average family car as well. Again, it's dependent on, and also as well, postcode specific as well when you do your insurance. How busy it is, the ratio claims and everything else. So what is the cost of insurance for over 60s compared to the UK for an average family car? I can't really answer that. Happy to give you a quote, Tony Traveller, if you want to contact me, and I can give you a rough idea if you give me a rough idea of what you're looking at, and then you can compare. But it's a very difficult question to answer.
There you go. And Alan Bates says, "Hi, good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm late." And Andy Cooper, of course, says, "Alan, you didn't used to run a post office, did you?" Thank you for the gags there. Oops.
You're welcome, Tony.
Mike Ripper says, "Do you need 2 triangles in the car?" I think you do, don't you? Well, you do in Ireland. I know that. They said we had to get another one. But when we moved down from 2 cars to 1 car, we just put them both in the one.
Yeah, I have to say, I've actually only got 1, but I will double check that for you and let you know.
I think you need 1 front and 1 back, if you remember. Yeah. There you go. I have seen them. I have seen people with only 1.
Yeah.
Although the police, when there was a car overturned on the road up the mountain the other week, they put 1 either side.
But that's slightly different. No, you're right. I suppose I only think about if you break down on the motorway, you only need 1 because it's one direction of traffic. But that would make sense. But I will double check that.
Yeah. And Paulina says, "Can you build a no claims bonus discount on your insurance policy?"
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And I have to say as well that there are some insurance companies that will not accept UK no claims bonus, okay, which I find very unfair. But I have chosen to work with the companies that do, if I'm honest with you. So if you do have full no claims bonus, I can actually award you full no claims bonus status on your first Spanish policy. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Robbo, as always, planning in advance, says, "Is it feasible to get a new Spanish policy before leaving the UK? So when I enter Spain, I'm already under Spanish insurance. And is there a charge when updating the policy when you do your new registration details?"
Okay, so again, Robert, we've touched on this. If you're driving over in a UK plated vehicle, I would just continue to use the policy that you've got until you're here, and then obviously get yourself sorted. I don't really see the point of restraining yourself to a 2-week period window of the UK in case something happens to take out a Spanish policy that will cover you for that short window. Is there a charge on updating policy for new registration details? There are, but I don't do it. I don't believe in doing it personally, but I do know a lot of the big name companies on the coast will have, and they started this and they followed the UK market actually, where apparently in the UK, any changes you make to your policy whatsoever is an admin charge, and usually the fee is about £25. So I do know for a fact that most of the Spanish companies have gone down that route. So if you want to change your address, they're going to charge you. They need to change it. I don't charge. I don't believe in that. It takes me 2 minutes to do that. So yeah, you can be charged if you go with other people, but I won't charge you that.
Good to know. Mike Ripper, is this one, we've answered the first half of this already. Is it right that in Spain it's the car that's insured rather than the drivers? Yes. But that foreigners are not covered, by which he means non-Spanish residents. You can get covered as a foreigner, yes.
I don't understand that. Is it right that in Spain the car that's insured rather than the drivers? But you're insuring the car, obviously, and you obviously have cover for accident cover and medical cover for occupants in the car. So if you're involved in an accident, then obviously I was going to say the contents. The people within the car are obviously covered as well. Yes.
I think maybe he means, I'm going to make an assumption here, that
Okay.
if you're a foreigner with a Spanish car, that means if you, for example, we're going to be covering this in the second half. Actually, let's cover this in the second half of the show when we talk about non-residents. I have a question which will answer that. And Marie Dye says, can you buy a policy for quads? That would include 2 on the same policy. Oh, quad bikes, is that?
Okay, that I would need to check. I do have a client. Okay, quad insurance is very different here. I do have a couple of companies that I insure that do quad trekking, so they have multiple quads, but they do only tend to cover them for the third party aspect anyway. So I think really it would just be down to one named person on there. But again, if you're looking at talking about insuring the person on the quad, you would really need to check the fine print of where you go to get the policy. Most people I know and most companies I work with will only actually offer the policy third-party liability only, which means if you come off it, you're not going to get any money from the insurance company that's insured the quad. So that's something. It's very, very different market here, I have to say. Very, very different market here.
Okay.
So if it's your own one, I would obviously be advising you to have really good medical insurance if you're going out on a quad.
Good to know. Mike Ripper saying, sorry, I meant, can a non-resident drive a Spanish car? Do you mean on the insurance of somebody else? Yeah, because it's the car that's insured,
exactly.
isn't it?
So as long as from an insurance perspective, anybody can drive the car with your permission as long as they hold a clean, valid license and they've held the license for a minimum of 2 years. So this is where it stops. Anybody that's had a ban, anybody that's had any drink driving in the last 2 years, and anybody that's underage as well. So all of the insurance companies have that stipulation.
It doesn't matter which nationality of driving license.
Well, again, a lot of Spanish companies are quite strict actually on the nationality of driving licenses that they will accept as well. So UK is fine, Ireland is fine, most of the European countries are fine. There are certain countries that actually they will not even accept a driving license from on that side. So again, you just really need to be aware of who you're allowing to drive your vehicle at the end of the day.
We were talking about Americans before the show started. Is that one of the that's the problem one?
At the moment, it's very difficult. Even with Americans coming over with an international driving permit, which means they actually can legally drive in Spain, there are very few Spanish insurers that actually want to offer them a policy. Why, I don't know. I find this very frustrating. It's a really big argument I have with a lot of them because I have an awful lot of American clients coming over on the immigration process that I cannot insure. I cannot insure them. So Romanian driving licenses, they don't like either. Russian driving licenses, they don't like either. So yeah, so there are a few obviously that are a definite no-no.
There you go. Robbo says, got to leave. We'll catch up later. Sam will be in touch when we get to Spain, hopefully August 25th. Oh, you're moving at the hot time.
Yeah. All right, Robbo, I'll speak to you then. Take care.
Brilliant. And Sarah Belt says, can we bring our no claims from Germany or from anywhere else, really? And would we need those documents translated?
No, Sarah. If you come to me, absolutely not. You just need to send me proof of your no claims bonus. I don't need it translated. I don't need, very, very rare, do the actual insurance company ask for proof of no claims bonus. They're usually quite happy to accept what the broker says when we obviously upload the information on that side. So no, you'll be fine.
That is very handy because in Ireland I had to go back about 5 years and look in my box of old documents and try and get in touch with companies that got, and I used to change my insurance every year, my insurance company, so it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, I've just done an agreement with a new company that specialises in motorbikes, and they are massive on bikes, but they do request for every new client proof of no claims bonus.
Wow.
So that was good. That's the first company that said, no, for a new client, we actually want to see their history. And if they're riding right now, we want to see their current policy, which can be really difficult to obtain. So very few, but I always try and make a note then and go, well, okay, that's fine. If I'm going to put you with this company, just to be aware, I'm going to have all the paperwork in advance. So I try and help you as a client as much as I can based on the company that I will obviously quote you with. So I know exactly what they're going to need and what they're not going to need.
Brilliant. Sarah Belt says, thank you, that's great. Getting it here was like getting blood out of a stone.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So one more question before we go for the mid-show break, although we've gone past the midpoint anyway, but I think the second half is going to be a bit shorter than the first half. If you want to change your insurance company when you're living here, how do you do that? Do you need to give them a lot of notice?
Okay, so most people only ever change their insurance company when it comes to renewal because they've had their renewal terms and they're not happy with the price. Okay, so majority of Spanish, no, I'll be honest, probably 99.9% of the big Spanish companies require you to give them 4 weeks notice in writing to cancel a policy. They don't tell you this when you're taking out the policy, and it's buried in the small print. So if you are thinking of changing for any reason, near your renewal time is always the best way to do it, because if you change halfway through, you're not going to get a refund. They're not going to give you any money back. So it's just not viable to do that, unless obviously something catastrophic has happened. Then, of course, you've fallen out, there's been an issue with a claim or something you genuinely are not happy on that side. Yeah. You can obviously always cancel, but just note that Spanish companies require a minimum 4 weeks notice in writing. You then have to write to them in Spanish. You have to tell them that you want to cancel your renewal. Okay, you don't want to cancel your policy in case they cut it dead. You want to cancel the renewal, and then you have to submit usually your NIE number and a signed document to cancel it. They make you jump through hoops, I have to be honest, in order to cancel. So therefore you don't cancel.
Yeah.
But yes, it's doable.
Great. Okay then. So it's time for the halfway point, and it's time, as always, for a quick message from me and my alter egos about the wonderful things available to you as YouTooSpain fans. So take it away, Skatz. Are you getting the most out of YouTooSpain? I don't know! Did you know that apart from these Saturday morning live shows with expert guests, or expats with really exciting stories to tell, it's like the Graham Norton show, there are videos every Wednesday evening, packed with all the information you need, so we can move to Spain and enjoy living here without paying tax. No, Colonel, that's illegal. But you can find out how to navigate the bureaucracy successfully. Well said, Walter. How do I find the videos? Just subscribe to the YouTube channel, darling. And click on the bell, you useless Colonel. There's a playlist here called Video Diaries. Ooh, now that is Skatz's personal story about life in Spain. And his battle with cancer. Still alive! Hashtag FOF. You can support him too. He needs you, my darlings. The poor bugger can't even stand up. If he was a horse, I'd shoot him. Colonel! He's not a very nice man. It's all right. He's just a two-dimensional stereotype. Aren't we all, sweetie? I'm not. Brexit. Moving on. How do I support Skatz? Use the QR code in the corner. Or there's a link in the video description below. I think he's worth every penny, but I can't find the link anywhere. In the video description, you idiot. I've warned you, Colonel. I'll send you back to the nunnery. While you're watching or pausing, below the video you'll see the title, just here. Oh, I see it. It says, read more. That's right. Just click or tap on that and lots more text appears. What's the information all about? There's contact information for the expert guests and lots of links to other related companies that I recommend. And they help out YouTooSpain if you use those links to get in touch with them. There's so much down below. below. Ah! Does anyone have a pen? No need, Tommy. You can find everything on our website, YouTooSpain.com. And don't forget the Facebook page and the YouTooSpain community group, where you can talk to other people like you. There's no one like me, sweetie. Thank goodness. Is that everything? There's a guest waiting to tell me things. Oh, I do like things. Where's Doogie Dog? That used to be his line. I'm stuck behind a wall. Oh, sorry, Doogie. I'll come and find you after the show. Thank you, Master. Get back to the show. I need to go and punch some servants. Oh, Colonel. Back to Skatz in the studio. Thank you very much, Skatz, the other Skatz, Walter and Dick and Tommy and Colonel and Doogie Dog behind the wall for joining us. If you have any questions for them, then do ask in the comments below. Right then, and normally at this point we'd have some questions from Facebook, but at the point when I looked early this morning, there weren't any that had come through on the Facebook groups. So we'll go straight to talking about non-residents. So I've heard of people who aren't resident but have a house here, for example, keeping a Spanish car over here that they store for use when they're on holiday. And this is, I think, what Yogi was asking before. Is it possible or easy to get insurance for that? Are there any issues?
No issues at all. At the end of the day, you are insuring your Spanish vehicle here. I think the only issue really is the cost, because obviously now there are so many restrictions on the 90-day rule. It's really more, is it value for money actually having a Spanish car here as a non-resident and obviously caught in the 90-day rules. I remember when Brexit came in, oh my God, people were just selling their cars left, right and centre. When COVID came as well, because there was no travel and people were having to renew their car. And it caused a big kerfuffle really, because people didn't want to reinsure their vehicles because they couldn't come to Spain, because obviously you couldn't travel at the time, and then obviously the restrictions came. The problem is, though, if you buy a car here in Spain and you have the car insured, it is a law that you have to have it covered for minimum insurance. So this is where it can get cost prohibitive from a UK's perspective. Well, I can't really come out very much. I can't come under the 90-day rule. The car was costing me X, Y, and Z. I'm just going to let the insurance slide. Mm-hmm. And I would say to people, absolutely, entirely up to you. But my job is to tell you you're breaking the law. And if they decide to check on the computer, which they did a massive purge when COVID came, they fined so many people because they knew exactly people couldn't travel. So they just go through the DGT register, and they see the car no longer has insurance, and they fine you. So it doesn't really matter. If you live in the UK and you have a holiday home here and you keep a car here, absolutely fine. You can have insurance. The same as you have to pay your EB and everything else in your holiday home. There is no difference on that side. So yes, you can have insurance for your car out here, even if you are a non-resident. That's not an issue on that side.
That's great. And it has to be a whole year's insurance, rather than, you can't just do it month by month, which would be handy.
You can pay month by month, but you can't have month on month on. Those days of old school writing a handwritten cover note and giving it to somebody for 30 days, no, can't do that anymore, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you're an EU or non-EU citizen. It's the same rule. You can still have a Spanish car here and insure it.
Exactly. If you can purchase a car here, which means in order to purchase the car here, you have to have, obviously, an NIE number to be able to purchase a vehicle here. You don't have to be a tax resident of the country. Then if you can purchase a car, then you have to have the insurance that goes with it.
Now, on the other side of that, how about keeping a foreign car here? Because there's rumour that there are people who have got their car in storage, and then whenever they come over here, that's the car that they use. There's got to be some issues with that.
There are always issues with that, always. And again, this is a way, obviously, of it. There aren't many cars left like that anymore on the coast. There used to be an awful lot of them. And the problem with those kind of cars, obviously, that kept in underground car parks and then obviously used when they come out here on a holiday, is they have absolutely no road tax on them. And you used to be able to get away with it, but now they actually know whether the car actually has any form of tax or any form of insurance, because they are now linked to the DVLA in the UK. They never used to be. And I've had stories of clients having their cars taken out of car parks. Literally, they know, they go in and they remove the car and they put it into a pound. You either lose your car or you have to pay the fine to get the vehicle out. It is just not worth it anymore, if I'm honest with you. It's those days again are really, really long gone. If you're going to come over and you're coming over on your car, with a UK car, and you're here for 90 days, as long as you can prove I'm on holiday, here is my entry ticket from the ferry, here is my return ticket going back, I'm a British passport holder, I'm not a tax resident, there are no issues in Spain. It's when they know the vehicle is here and it's been here a long time. And believe me, they do clock the vehicles.
Yeah. There's no way you can get an MOT when you're over here. You've got to.
Again, you used to be able to get MOTs. That I can
yeah?
name a couple of garages here on the Costa del Sol. They no longer do that. You know, there were always ways around everything. I'm being really honest with you. You know that there are, but now, no, very, very difficult to get anything like that anymore.
And imagine if your car's in a pound and you go to get it out again, then they can say it's not taxed, it's not MOT'd, you can't drive it.
Yeah.
So you'd have to get it picked up and shipped back to the UK.
Oh, extremely costly. I mean, they are so hot. I'll give you an example. I was in the UK last month. Unfortunately, I had to go to a funeral. I had a client that missed the window for both of us to get together. So his car wasn't, he was leaving one company and coming to me. Couldn't track him down, couldn't get the policy in place. He got caught with no insurance. Believe me, I did try for 6 weeks prior to get him to do his insurance. He got caught with no insurance. They took the car to the pound. And I couldn't insure it because I was in the UK. So we had to go to another company to get the car insured. But the delay of getting the car insured, the cost was almost €600 on getting that car out of the pound, getting hire cars to go back to the pound with the paperwork and everything else. So they are super hot on reading now a registration number to see if you have insurance and if you have the actual road tax as well. Super hot.
There we go. I'm not sure if I should put this one up on the screen or not. But DDA drug dealer, obviously a very legal person,
hi.
saying donkeys are more reliable than Spanish motors. I've got my car's an Italian, it's Fiat, but it's a Spanish car, and it's actually really, really reliable. And you see loads of Seats, and they're Spanish made, on the roads, and they might look a bit battered up, a lot of them, because when driven on the country roads, you end up getting a lot of marks on your car. But
I'm thinking maybe Didier is referring to how they actually drive as a whole when he says they are used to driving donkeys.
I just say that lower down, yes.
Yeah, they're not the best drivers. Yeah. Sure.
And he says the Spaniels, maybe that's just a typo. And Mike Ripper says, I'd like to see a dog riding a donkey. There we go. Spaniel riding a donkey. I wouldn't like to see my Spaniel riding a donkey. That would be crazy.
Skatz, can I just say, can you just answer Alan Bates's question?
Yeah, I was going to get back to that.
Okay.
Let's put it up on the screen then.
Yeah.
So, hi Sam, I'm hiring a car to come and see my daughter for 3 weeks now. Alicante. Can I take extra insurance cover to cover my excess, if you know what I mean, without paying through the nose?
You can, Alan. However, I cannot find a provider anymore in Spain that will actually sell that kind of insurance. I used to be able to sell it all the time. People used to actually hire cars out here instead of buying cars, because at one point it was actually quite cheap to do it. And we used a couple of companies, but they were actually UK companies that offer this. It's called hire excess cover. So when you hire a car abroad, I think you can actually get it from the UK, and I think they're pretty cheap, the policies that you can buy. So if you're traveling quite a lot, maybe if you come out to Spain 2 or 3 times a year, it's probably worth taking the annual policy from the UK to cover you for the excess when you hire a car in Spain.
Yeah, I used to use one of those companies all the time.
Yeah. They were. I did as well. I used to have a policy, but if I want it now, I have to buy it from the UK market.
There you go. That's good to know. Thanks for your question, Alan. And Mike's saying to DDA, define Spanish car, because VW Polos are built in Spain. Yeah, I think it's the same company as Seat now, owned by Volkswagen. And 2004 Astra, best car in Spain, but they call it an Opel. Yeah. So, Good to see. And Didier's laughing at that. There we go. Alan Bates says, thank you for your answer.
You're
brilliant.
welcome, Alan. No problem.
Does anyone else have any more questions on the live chat? And while we're waiting for any questions to come through, because there's always a bit of a time delay there, let's just see if, Sam, is there anything else, any more information we need to tell everyone?
No, I think you're pretty covered. I just want to quickly go back to Andy Cooper, who asked me about what to cover in the car. You are absolutely right. 2 warning triangles. I do apologise. And in fact, on my webpage, I actually did a post on the February the 25th, which is actually essential items to keep in your car whilst driving in Spain. So it actually gives you a complete list of everything that you should have there, from the jackets to the insurance to the inspection certificate for the ITV, if that's relevant. And then additional recommended items like light bulbs that like you to keep in the car, first aid kit, etc. I will probably say to people, if you want to get updates on anything like that, I have a Facebook page. Just like the Facebook page, everything goes automatically to a Facebook page. So it saves you constantly logging onto the website. And then you'll receive all of the updates, not just car, anything to do with insurance in Spain as well on that side. So
that's good to know.
Yeah.
It's also good to carry an accident report sheet.
Exactly. And I always issue those anyway. So if you take a policy from me, when I send you all of your paperwork by email, nobody sends anything hard copy now, I always include a printable version of the accident form in English for all my clients. I have it in Spanish, but I always do it in English as well. So you've actually got that. And I send everything that you need to have with a full list of what you should carry anyway.
Great. Andy Cooper says, thanks, Sam. We'll be in touch in April.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Andy.
Perfect. So let me just remind everyone that if you do have any more questions or comments after we go off the air, then you can put them in the YouTube comments below. Don't put them on some random Facebook expat group where you saw this the video of this show linked, because if you go back to that and put a question on there, it's possible that I'll see it and get a notification, but nobody else that's watched the show and is watching this video will get the answer to it. So, and it's better that we help everybody. So put it underneath the video in YouTube, and you'll get all of the answers and the help you need. It's that is a win-win-win with a cherry on top, which I'll put on the screen now as well. We have to do that at least twice a show. And don't forget, everybody, to smash that like button, as everybody on YouTube says, and subscribe and click on the bell if you haven't already done that, so you'll be the first to know what's coming up on all of the shows. That's the live show. Paulino says, what's the Facebook page called, Sam?
Hi, Paulino. It's called samcampbellinsurance.com.
There you go.
Took a really long time to think of that one.
And the email address is sam@samcampbellinsurance.com. That's what I've got underneath here. Everything is, you can find everything from that. There's a comment on here. No expectations. Hi guys, I'm coming to Spain in April on the non-lucrative visa and bringing my UK car. How long do I have before deciding whether to change it to Spanish plates and insurance? 30 days is the official.
Yeah.
Although I brought over an Irish car and was planning to buy a Spanish car straight away, but of course we had to wait until I had the NIE number and all of my documentation, and it went over the 30 days. Eventually, within about 60 days, I sold it to somebody else in Spain who got it registered. So that's another thing that you can do with your car that you drive over with. And I found Facebook Marketplace a really good place to do that, because there seem to be always English people, especially looking for a car to drive back, because there are people moving back as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
There we go. Mike Ripper said, I read that Spanish police recommend that you stay in your car if you break down, whereas UK police recommend leaving the car. I think that's on a motorway, isn't it, especially?
Yeah, it is recommended, but personally, I would just get on the other side of the barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, for safety reasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so that is all of the questions. So before then we find out what's happening in next week's show, everybody say a huge thank you to Sam for helping you all so much, and give her a massive virtual hug and a kiss. And Sam, we'll see you again soon. I'm sure we've got other insurance subjects we can cover.
My pleasure. And no, you're all very welcome. And if anybody wants to contact me, ask me any questions, just drop me an email. Not a problem if you are starting your journey a year in advance or you're coming over in the next couple of months. Happy to help and advise.
Brilliant. That's good. So thank you very much. And
thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
So, who do we have on next week's show? Well, I've already mentioned it about halfway through the show. Yes, of course, it's Chris from Upsticks, and I'll be announcing whatever the special topic is early in the coming week, so that you can have your questions ready, or you can just prepare yourself for a lovely chat. And in the meantime, of course, during the week, you can ask your questions in advance on the Facebook page or the Facebook group, or under this video or any of the videos. So thank you once again. Alan Bates says, great, Sam, thanks for your information. We'll be in touch. Cheers. And so thank you for everybody on the live chat, and to everybody for watching the video back afterwards and leaving comments, and hitting the like button, and buyingmeacoffee.com, or the using this QR code. I'll see you either on the Wednesday evening midweek video, or the video diary on Friday, or live on next Saturday morning's live show at our regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland or the Canary Islands, or 10 o'clock if you're in Spain or Central Europe. That's all for this week. Somebody pass around the car insurance cookies, and peace and love to you all. Peace and fluff. And here's one final message from all of the voices in my head at YouTooSpain. Bye for now. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peace and fluff. Oi oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.